Let's focus on student matters. Now, various student bodies hosted the media recently to share their concerns about the proposed NSFAF Amendment Bill. Now, in terms of the proposed bill, the student funding body is to be reincorporated into the now Ministry of Education, Innovation, Youth, Sports, Arts and Culture. The proposed bill would empower the minister to establish a policy framework for granting of financial assistance to eligible students at approved institutions of higher learning. The students say that the bill promotes the differentiation between private and public universities and does not promote healthy competition among institutions. Now, furthermore, the bill also introduces discriminatory practices that unfairly categorizes the segregates students based and on the institutions that they attend. Joining us in studio to share more on these views of the student union is Natangwe Shikesho, the president of the Student Union of Namibia. Natangwe, it's a very good morning to you. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having us.
It's a pleasure to be with you. Of course, we have seen how busy your organization has been, of course, trying to, keep the word out on the newly, amended bill. Talk to us about, or rather give us the stance of SUN in terms of, the NSFAF Amendment Bill.
Well, as the Student Union of Namibia and NASA plus other students who attended that event, we reject strongly this bill because we believe this bill was, there was no consultation, it's being rushed, no proper scrutiny in terms of how it will benefit the student in the future of this country, and how is it going to make sure, again, that it will promote a fair competition between institution and institution, and just maybe to ensure again that the student private institutions are not denied their rights.
Very well. What are the potential advantages or disadvantages for students if NSFAF now becomes a department within the education ministry?
Look, I don't believe there are really advantages, but they are there. Maybe they are planning to increase the non-tuition fee of the students. Maybe they are going to ensure again they run those laptop initiatives. Maybe those are the advantages.
Which is a good thing.
It's not part of the what. It's not clear in that document though. But it's just what we're thinking. But all in all, the disadvantages are we believe this whole document is just to give the minister power, I think even over the president. I mean, these powers are a lot, and the minister might even overuse them or abuse them, and it will affect the people on the ground, such as the student, and most importantly, the student in the private institution. So we don't want an individual to have all that power over everyone. It will create chaos, and if the minister, some of the powers are, the minister have the power to decide who to fund and what time. Yeah. So if the minister disagree with the institution, then they decide, no, we are cutting the funds. And who will be affected? Not the institution, is the student. In fact, NSFAF itself, it doesn't fund institution, it funds a Namibian student. But when we start to separate or segregate students according to institution, then it's a problem, because then we are marginalized students, not institutions. Students, institution will never be affected.
Now, you mentioned also earlier that consultation was not done, of course, for the drafting and discussion of this bill. Who exactly are you referring to? Is it the student unions? Is it SUN perhaps, or are the student representative bodies? Who has not really consulted in terms of this, and how much of an issue could this be? And were you able to actually even make any recommendations if consultation was actually done when these were taken into consideration?
Okay, look, we saw NANSO have also rejected the same bill. We saw, NASA also rejected the same bill. SRCs around, in Namibian campuses, they rejected the same bill. Right. So which means none of us was consulted. But what I'm saying is that you saw how this same bill was being rushed. I think it's one of the bills that was rushed. There are bills that we know they are just there lying down. But this one was right. So we believe there might be a certain agenda somewhere that people want to use and ensure that they run this whole this whole funding as a kitchen. But what we are saying is for this bill, if you look at to some clause there, you will see that they are saying if the student can't able to pay, they are going to imprison them. They will need again to pay $4,000 Namibian. What is that? I mean, these are the students that proven to government that they are very poor, they can't able to afford, they are dead and their mother, they are diseased, so they can't able to afford. In fact, they're supposed to take back, they use that money that they get to take back, to go back home and build, to go back home and assist the people and assist the neighbor there. Now you are saying, look, I understand you are very much poor, extremely poor, but I want you to pay back the money. It doesn't make sense. And you have to see again, to check the manifesto. The president said, no, I want everything to be done as the manifesto of SWAPO. Now the manifesto is saying free education, free higher education. This one they are saying, look, you need to pay back the loan. What is this? What we are saying, or our proposal to this bill is to say, our expectation were to say education will be free for every deserving student. That's what we're expecting. We're expecting NSFAF to be where they are. NSFAF is one of the institutions now in our country that they are doing extremely well. These guys are listening. You go and engage them. They listen, and in a very short period of time, they were able to act. But when everything is with the Ministry of Education now, you see, youth is there, basic is there, higher education is there, everything, even TVET is there.
Sports as well,
so
yeah.
how, and these are the ministries that have been struggling throughout in 10 years now. We've been around that. They've been struggling to run their affairs. Now, just imagine all this in one house, how everything will be run. NSFAF, I think they must be just the way they are, and maybe the ministry can just advise them on how they want things to be or align them with national policies. But it doesn't make sense to bring them again there. So they want everything there. I don't know, but
all right. Now, we also now see that the proposed bill, of course, has been already proposed. But then what are the suggestions or what are the recommendations to be made now by, student unions like the Student Union of Namibia? What are the steps that you hope to take perhaps for this to be brought back to how matters were, or rather are you hoping that a halt comes into place for the Namibia Students Fund to also just remain the way it is?
No, we saw National Council have passed this bill, so we are going to seek audience with the president so that we tell him how dangerous this document is to the Namibian future. And then we tell her how it's not aligning with the manifesto of SWAPO, as she promised the Namibian people. Yeah. And we just tell her to say, look, if you sign this document, you will then declare war against young people. When we don't want to see that. In my lifetime, in 6 years lifetime in university, I've never seen a demonstration. And I don't want to see that. Mm-hmm. So we are going to engage them. We are going to engage the minister, the incoming minister, and deputy ministers, and the management to say, look, we reject this document, and this document doesn't go with the national, not national policy, but with what we believe in. So NSFAF must just be the way they are, and what we maybe recommend is that maybe they must look into. Look, they are students. We are expecting this thing to look into. There are people, there are students in our country. They've been assisted by the Ministry of Gender from grade 1 or 0 up until grade 12. Mm. Now, when they come to university, they qualify for NSFAF. But from January until today, until maybe April or June, who is taking care of them? Yeah, I think NSFAF is supposed to look into that matter to say, look, the students who have been affected, who are from a destitute family, mm-hmm. who will help them during this period while they are waiting for NSFAF? Gender is supposed to do something because they are already proven, they are already in the record. So all they needed just to submit their qualification and say, look, you are at institution what, so you'll be funded while you are waiting for NSFAF, or you'll be given money from your NSFAF while NSFAF is coming. Because now students, they need accommodation, they need transport, they need all these accessories. But where will they get them if they are proven by the government? So this is what we want the NSFAF to look into. We want NSFAF to look into this policy, this policy of giving laptop. People must get laptop. We are facing a digital world. So how is this document now help the country to move forward digitally? So we want a document that speaks to the future, not just giving each other power. So you may be thrown out some people and all these things. This document must be not based on emotionals. Yeah.
Very well. How are student unions, working together for this bill perhaps to be halted, to rather halt the passing of this bill? Because we've seen the number of press conferences, we've seen the being held by the student representative unions, student representative councils, and the institutions of higher learning as well. What are some of the plans? Are there any plans to work together, to collaborate together in terms of getting an audience as one? With the president, like you suggested, is there any other perhaps voice or other, what are the students saying, in fact, in terms of what they want from your consultations that we've had with them on this proposed bill?
Yeah, look, we have formed a united front with NASA and students from UNAM, students from NAS, students from IUM, Triumphant, other universities such as RK, and other institutions. So we have formed this thing. That's why the document that we released, or the press release, we wrote it together because we understand, and we are still welcoming any other organization that want to collaborate with us on this matter, and to ensure that we put the student in the center. Because us as a united front, we believe that if we don't, putting the student center without a program of action, then it's meaningless. If it's going to ask us to demonstrate, we are going to do that without no shame. If it's going to ask to take us to maybe do anything crazy, we are going to do that, because we have to defend this country with all what we have. So, but yeah, I think that's what we plan to do, and just to consult the minister and the president, and maybe to write again to Parliament, so that they understand that the people need to be consulted. I think they should come with a legal mind. Maybe we don't just understand the legality of this thing. Maybe they should come with a legal mind, so that they can come and explain to us, to say, look, this is what it means. This is what it means. Or maybe it doesn't mean that way how you think. Maybe just a misunderstanding that we have. But all what we want, we don't want things to be passed and in our time, and later we'll blame to say, yeah, it was during your time.
Very well. How might NSFAF's reintegration into the ministry impact accessibility of, or rather the disbursement of funds to students, especially those in private institutions? Yeah,
look, private institutions are the institutions that work on the money paid by the student. And then just imagine NSFAF students haven't paid up until today.
Right.
So again, it being at Ministry of Education, you see how the bureaucracy there. You go to a school and then they'll say, yeah, we put in a request since last year, but everything is just in the process. So this thing under that, a Ministry of Education is now one of the congested education in government that we have. So having NSFAF there, it will be a problem, because it will require that bureaucracy, and then even when you want to consult, they will tell you, no, you go to the CEO. When you go to the CEO, not go to the CEO, go to the manager. But when you go to the manager, they'll tell you, go to the CEO, to the director, and up until the minister. So we don't want that. With NSFAF, you just go, consult, everything. They will tell you a straight answer to say, look, we are here now, we are where we're now, and if everything will be out on when. Right. But now we'll be told, no, it's with who, it's waiting for approval from who. We don't want that, and that will fail the student.
Definitely. Finally, your brief final remarks on how you envision the future of student funding in Namibia.
We are envisioning to see public and private institutions working together, not just institution of higher education, but institution in general, like maybe parastatal and all these things coming together, bringing funds to ensure that they expand the funding, to ensure that they run activities or projects that will really benefit the student, on the ground. And we again look into the budget also to make sure it allocate enough money for the people. And again, maybe we look it into, from that side to say, maybe the increment in non-tuition fee so that the student can able to afford accommodation, transport, and other learning accessory and all that. Yeah. So that's what we are looking into.
Very well. Natangwe, thank you so much for being here, sharing these very important, of course, notes that you've shared with us. Of course, hope to speak to you again of the developments of this bill. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much.
Of course, we wish you all the best. Yeah.
Thank you so much for having us.
Absolutely.